I hope so, because I just pressed the start
I
stream
wonder if
button.
I do have COVID.
Probably. We're live, Lewis. But I'm waiting for the bits. Oh, there they are. No more COVID coughs. We're live. And we have an excellent connection, Lewis. Both, friend to friend, but also on the internet with YouTube. And we're live. I'm here with Mr. COVID, a.k.a. Lewis Wallace, so he coughing his way through Apple's greatest hits. Join us in the chat. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here today, my friends. Probably more than we can actually get to. Because remember, we're supposed to do a best of 2022 part 4. I gave up.
You finally dropped the ball, huh?
I had to. There's too much news. Well, there's too much news to do it. So maybe we could sprinkle it in. This is our new segment, best of 2022. We'll just talk about old stuff
all year long.
I probably could do it all year long. We got Streamline said, "Let the happiest hour of the week begin." Isn't that true, Lewis? This is Lewis's Zen place. We got Cameron Kinvig. He says, "Here I am, my first time actually watching CultCast live." Oh boy, you are in for a treat. Mark Lapointe, he just goes, "Howdy." He's clearly been here many times before. He knows what to expect.
I'd say this is my second favorite time because, first favorite time of the week is the pole dancing class.
Yeah, you taking a pole dancing class?
No, I teach it.
Oh. Powerful thighs. Lewis can slide down that pole with his legs wrapped around the top.
It's Polish folk dancing.
Oh, I thought you meant something different. Oh. Yeah. I mean, just knowing you and the kind of smut you're into.
Hey, don't use the word smut. You're going to get us filtered.
I thought you were teaching people how to dance on an actual brass pole.
Dear.
I was going to say something else, but I probably should. I'm going to get myself in trouble. We got Mark Lapointe here. We got one like, Lewis. One like.
It's a lot of swearing on Twitter.
Yeah? Well, it's unfiltered
I'm
now.
going to start swearing myself. I don't see the tweet.
Oh, boy. I got one here for you. Let me proofread it real fast because I know what a stickler you are. You already corrected my title.
The Ring drone patrols your home. That's just great. That's what I need.
Oh, is that the new drone?
Yeah. It looks really unsteady in the air.
Dude, can you imagine? You go up to someone's house and there's like a drone flying around, like recording you?
You just take a baseball bat and just crack that thing.
It's in the air, dude. How's that? Maybe if you throw the baseball bat at it.
You just walk right up to it. I mean, it's like
well, it's flying, isn't it?
It's floating around at chest level. It looks about as, it does not look extremely maneuverable.
Lewis is sounding echoey today. Weird live stream. Anyone else having weird Lewis echo issues? Because it sounds normal to me.
Huh. That's odd. Maybe it's just the stuff rattling around in my head.
Oh, sup, peeps? Let me see. Let me try something here real fast, Lewis. I want to try just a real quick test before we go live.
Jeez. More off color tweets.
Can you let's see here. How to clean an oven fast. That'll work. Tell me if you hear this. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are... Can you hear any of that audio?
Do I hear it? It's not coming through my headphones.
Okay, good.
I mean, I can barely hear it is what I'm saying. It's very quiet.
What about now? Can you still hear it?
No.
Okay, it's gone. Good.
Nothing I like a hearing test. Oh my God.
Dipsy Doo saying echo. Hold on a second.
Still.
Let me fix it. I know exactly what the problem is.
Fix it.
I know exactly what it is. I can't believe that I made this mistake.
Does it have anything to do with the new video card? Probably not.
How about now? No.
How about now?
It has nothing to do with the new video card. That definitely fixed it. Let me know.
That fixed it? All right.
Give me some of that golden larynx.
Yeah, okay. I'm down to 6 packs a day now.
Yeah, sorry, I was playing around with my mixer, and I accidentally turned off mix minus. So you're hearing what I hear. So you're hearing Lewis, and then you're hearing me hear Lewis. Fixed.
That's nice.
You had an echo. Okay.
I mean, that means 2 times as much me.
Yeah,
I like it.
Which is 3 times too much.
Ooh.
All right. Should we get going here, folks? We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's see here. Let me make sure I got everything queued up. I know Mrs. D is chomping at the bit, man. She really wants to she wants to get things rolling. But but I think we're ready to roll. All right, everyone. Let's cue up Mrs. You-Know-Who, and let's get this show rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D, Happy New Year. Oh, yes. Did you have a lovely New Year's Eve? Oh, yes, I brought in the new year with fireworks. Oh, really? Oh, yes. Me and Leander Katie making fireworks together. Oh, gross. It was sexual. Oh, didn't need that last part for sure. If you don't mind, Mrs. D, let's not talk about that stuff. And let's talk about this week's best Apple news because we got a lot of stuff. Oh, fireman ready, my dear. And let's get this rolling in 3. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Arifan Elijah. Join me today. He just got back from the forest where he was hunting down several escaped Cultamac riders. They thought they'd get away. They put up a struggle, but it wasn't anything his long-barrel dart gun couldn't take care of. Now they're back and safely sleeping in the Cultamac riding cage. They're going to have some pain waiting for him when they wake up. He's the managing editor of Cultamac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah. Now with no echo.
There you go.
Fantastic news.
Man, that was a great rock scream that you started us with. You don't even try. It just happens.
Yeah.
You're like I was gonna say David Bowie. That's the wrong David. David Lee Roth.
Yeah, I'm just like David Lee Roth.
You definitely got his moves.
Oh man, I saw a video clip the other day of all of his best jumps, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, and he had a dubbed in little Van Halen, the little squeaks and noises that he makes on the albums. It was hilarious.
Man, they really were a perfect
Very well
pair,
done.
weren't they? I mean, David Lee Roth looked and behaved how Van Halen sounded.
That was
awesome.
you
back in the day, wasn't it? With like the single unitard with the with the suspenders and the leopard skin and the streamers and all that stuff.
At best, I had the Michael Anthony look. At best.
Michael Anthony. Now I'm gonna have to look up who that is. Michael Anthony.
Short, stocky.
Okay. Was he one of the members of Van Halen?
Bass player. Come on. What?
No one knows
What
who
did
the
you
bass
just say?
player is, Lewis.
Everyone does.
No. Oh yeah, who's the bass player for Aerosmith?
Ask me too fast.
But you're right though. This guy does actually look like you. He looks just like you. I mean, this guy right here, that could be Lewis Wallace right there. He's got the look. Oh man, this one's even better. Look at this guy. Looks like a Oompa Loompa playing the
What are
bass.
you looking at here?
You can't see it. Sorry.
What's that?
Sorry, we're dropping.
That was a very fast tangent.
We're dropping viewers precipitously. Let's move off this topic. Get back to some Apple news. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week, my friends. Let's see here. Where did my notes go? Oh, there we go. Yeah, we have some updates on an upcoming touchscreen MacBook Pro. I know you thought it would never happen. Well, turns out never may not actually mean never. We have the Apple mixed reality headset, the MR8. That's what I'm calling it from now on. Mixed reality headset, the MR. It's coming. It's right around the corner. Apparently, according to this story, it is in the hands of developers as we speak so that they can start creating apps for it. We're going to talk about some new HomePod stuff for, the first quarter of 2023. It looks like it might be right around the corner. And we thought we could do this run-through of all of the Apple products that we're expecting in 2023 in order, right? So in a timeline. Mac Rumors put out this story this week. This kind of lays everything out. And we've talked about all this stuff in the past, but I think that it would be cool to just kind of go through everything so you kind of know what to expect and when to expect it. And I love seeing that HomePod is in the very first quarter. And we have some evidence that this actually might be something that materializes.
Evidence?
I consider it evidence.
Wow.
Smoke. And when there's smoke, there's El Caney. And there's also fire. You love the big HomePod? Oh, man, me too. Okay, let's see here. Before we dive in, let me take a quick moment, Lewis, to thank Rocket Mortgage for supporting this episode. Lewis, let me ask you a question. Serious question. Is your New Year's goal to manage your budget better and save money?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. That sounds like a great idea any time of the year, but especially right
But
now, I suppose.
it's the beginning of the year. It's a time for New Year's resolutions. And if your goal is to manage your budget better and save money, then you need Rocket Mortgage. You need Rocket Money. Did I just say Rocket Mortgage?
Yes, you did. And I was like, what is he talking about?
Brainwire. Rocket Money. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app, Lewis, that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and it helps you lower your bills all in one place. Did you know, Lewis, over 80% of people have subscriptions they have forgotten about, like streaming services?
Boy, howdy.
Yeah. You subscribe to that streaming service for that one show, and then you forget that you had a free trial, and now you're just being charged monthly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Rocket,
or
yeah.
you get it free from somebody, from your carrier for 6 months, and then, oops, they don't happen to get a hold of you and let you know that the free trial has now ended.
Oh, yeah. They don't like to remind you of those things, do they? Or they get you with the I just signed up for a trial of a streaming service, and it was $2 for 2 months. So I thought, oh, shoot.
What a deal.
Well, that's a great
Can't
deal.
pass that up.
But then you just forget about it, which is what they're hoping, right? It's like the gym membership. You get that gym membership, and then you just never go. And I have a funny story about that, which I'll bring up again here in just a minute. But they'll get you, Lewis. Well, Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones that you don't want. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button. You simply find the subscription that you don't want, and you just press cancel. And Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times or calls with customer service, emailing back and forth. Over 3 million people have already used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. Stop throwing your money away, Lewis. Stop it.
I would love to stop throwing my money
Cancel
away.
unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/cultcast, rocketmoney.com/cultcast, rocketmoney.com/cultcast. Lewis, I'm going to check in on you again in the future to see if you've done this.
That sounds actually really awesome. If you can actually just press a cancel button rather than having to go through the nightmare of getting a hold of the people. And I mean,
signing into
honestly,
the website with the password that you don't remember.
Right. Yeah, and that's part of it, like getting on the phone. A lot of times you have to call these people. Oh my god!
Oh, that's the worst.
And I feel like sometimes I just feel so sad. Like, yeah, I know I've been a subscriber for 6 years, but I haven't used it in 3 years. So I just gotta pull the plug. Like saying that out loud, I don't know. It's some kind of weird admission.
And then the customer service rep tries to guilt trip you.
I'm sorry, could you hold? I need you to speak to my manager.
They put you on hold, and then they just never come back.
Right.
That's actually an interesting tactic. It probably works really well, too. Yeah, the worst is when they make you call them. I really hate that. All right, Lewis.
Yeah.
Now you're just making me depressed. But
I hope it's not contagious.
We don't have to be depressed because we have Rocket Money. Let's rock it on, Lewis. Let's talk about some...
By the way, that's an excellent upgrade on their name. I like Rocket Money a lot better than Truebill.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I was going to tell a story, wasn't I?
Oh, now here we go.
Now it's gone. I completely forgot. What was that? What was the story that I said I was going to tell later?
I can't remember. Let's get
Does
started with the
remember?
podcast.
Let's just quickly move on and pretend that it never
recall.
happened. All right, let's if it comes back to me, then I'll regale you all, but I honestly can't even remember what it was. It's gone forever probably. Let's talk about our first story of the day. Apple's seriously considering a touchscreen MacBook Pro, Lewis. They're seriously considering it, Lewis. What do you think about that?
I just about fell over when I saw this headline.
This cracked me up because this is like when we learned that Apple was creating the Apple Pencil.
Right.
Yet another piece of technology.
That's exactly the first thing that came to my mind.
That Steve Jobs said no one wanted, and then they made it.
Yeah. So the story is Apple now has engineers, quote, actively engaged in the project of adding touchscreens to Mac computers, starting with popular MacBook Pro. This, you won't believe this comes from Mark Gurman, he's been kind of on fire this week. He's had a lot of Apple news this week.
Yeah.
Apple, over at Bloomberg, he's reporting that the first Mac with a touchscreen display could ship as soon as 2025.
Right, so right around the corner.
That's quite a launch ramp, isn't it? Anyway, the product is evidently still being tested internally with no definitive plans for product launch set in motion. Gurman says this new feature would be a part of a larger update to the MacBook Pro that also would include moving to an OLED display panel. Is that how you pronounce it? OLED? It's not OLED, is it? OLED?
You could say either.
I can say OLED?
Yeah, I usually say OLED.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously the thing that the first thing that comes to mind is like, Steve Jobs is once again turning over in his grave. He once said internal testing of touchscreen Macs showed that, quote, after an extended period of time, your arms want to fall off. It doesn't work. It's ergonomically terrible. And Tim Cook also derisively compared Microsoft's hybrid Surface devices to a combination refrigerator toaster, which is that's really going out there for Tim. He's usually not that mean. I mean, not that you could tell.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's in there, but
can you imagine the squint on his
hidden
face
behind the squint
as he did that? But yeah, I mean, the first thing I thought of when I heard this is like all these times they've adamantly said we are not doing this, we are not doing this, we are not doing this. But sounds like they're thinking about doing it. The other part of this story, I don't think this is in the show notes, but I remember reading it. They're saying that these would run Mac OS, not iPad OS, which is, so maybe that's what, when they've been talking about touchscreen Macs and saying it's never going to happen, maybe internally, they've compartmentalized, oh, well, there's no way we're going to run iPad OS on a Mac. They're going to be two completely different things. But, as our story said, they're like the only computer manufacturer who doesn't make touchscreen laptops. And I don't know if you've ever used a touchscreen laptop.
I have, yeah.
I actually like them.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to use the touchscreen for everything, but there's some times where it's just nice to reach out and touch the screen. Like if you want to just tap a picture or something, as opposed to, track balling or mousing around. Sometimes it actually is easier and more straightforward. But, I mean, obviously you couldn't do everything with a touchscreen in Mac OS. Every single button is too tiny, or every single user interface element is just far too tiny.
I'm all for options, right? So it's not like I would be annoyed if Apple did this. I would be a little surprised because they have been so adamant about how touchscreen functionality is not something that most people want to use and is not a good experience. I've had a touchscreen laptop in the past and I found the touchscreen stuff to be completely pointless. So I can't think of a lot of scenarios where I would actually want to take my hands off the trackpad, which kind of accomplishes the same thing as a touch screen, to do it on the screen instead. And I'm a little concerned that this would just add to the expense of a Mac, so you would be forced to pay for technology that you wouldn't actually want to use, like the Touch Bar. Like the first thing that came to my mind is Touch Bar 2.0.
Yeah, they're finally going to right-size the
new, improved, and even more useless. So, but I had some people on Twitter chastise me for being negative Nancy, and they thought this was an exciting feature.
Chastised on Twitter.
Well, I thought for
Shocking.
sure I was on the right side of history on this one, but apparently not. And so if they can include this in without changing the price, great. Yeah. I'll take the feature if you want to give it to me for free, but we all know that that's probably not going to happen. So
I wonder if they would make it optional.
Maybe you could add a touchscreen option.
Extra $500. I mean, I would never pay, any extra money actually for it, because it's not like it's mandatory or anything. I've gotten completely used to not. But when I first switched to a MacBook after using a PC for so many years, I kept finding myself touching the screen once in a while. And I mean, I'm talking about maybe in a day of work touching the screen 5 times.
Yeah.
Just because, like, for whatever reason, this task is easier that way. But
the touchpad though is already so good, and it does all the same things that having a touch screen would do. So I really don't know why you would prefer to do it on the screen, because that would cause you to lift your hand up and move your arm around. And to Steve Jobs'
which
point,
is good.
Why is that
good? It's good.
It's good if you want to have,
because you're not sitting there like a statue getting RSI. You move.
Okay.
You move your body. You reach. I mean, especially when you have like a giant screen, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you got to move the cursor 3 feet. I mean. It's nice
in that case, I think that they should probably move the keyboard to the back of your iMac, So anytime you need to type, you got to like put your hands underneath the thing. I think
Well,
like
now
this.
you're just being silly.
I might as well put the touchpad back there too. And how about the machine only works when you're lifting it? So if you want it to actually have the screen come on, you have to physically grab the iMac and then lift it up, and it could use it. You know, how does that sound?
How about this? MagSafe charger only works with a stationary bicycle.
There you go. The
Thou
healthiest
shalt
people
not
use
compute
Macs.
without sweating.
I like all of these ideas. They're almost as functional as a touchscreen laptop.
Such a hater.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really see the point. Again, I had a touchscreen laptop for a long time, and I just never really understood why would you want to touch the screen. I did hear a few people give some examples. I was like, okay, that would actually be useful if you could zoom into photos in and out. That was actually the only one. Zoom into images, but you can do that with the touchpad now. So I don't know. Again, why do you want to do that on the screen? Again, this is in testing, so we don't even know if Apple is going to end up releasing something like this. And it looks like this was part of another suite of features.
What if they added that to like giant screens, like Studio Display, made that touch enabled? Would it make more sense to you then?
Maybe if it were a product that could be angled down, like what does Microsoft call theirs? Is the Microsoft Studio, where they have that big screen and the screen pivots downward to basically turn into like a giant drawing pad. That could be cool. If it would orient itself into a position where touching it was more natural, I think that might be something that would be cool. But that's also very niche, right? Most people don't want or need something like that.
But I guess my point about the when you got to move the cursor 3 feet, that obviously that doesn't apply to laptops, right? But I could completely enjoy having it on this because I've got. Imagine you have like 3 monitors, right? You just instantly go to some point on screen 3 by reaching out and touching it rather than cursoring all the way over. I'm sure this. Whatever. I wonder if this is actually going to happen. I suppose you do too. And it sounds like you don't even really want it to happen, even as an option.
I wouldn't mind it as long as it doesn't raise the price. That's my concern. Is they're going to give you another touch bar, because when they released the touch bar, they raised the price of Macs $300, and I was like, I don't want this thing, but now I have to pay for it, and it's totally useless.
I kind of miss it.
Do you?
Even though I never used it, I kind of miss it.
Oh,
because it was cool.
It was cool on paper, and then when you got it, you realize that it doesn't really do anything that's useful, and there was no haptic response or haptic feedback, which always bothered me because you didn't really feel like you were communicating with the computer like you can with a keyboard. Anyway, I don't mean to go on a tangent. If there's one thing that's for sure, Dipsy Doo is saying cult class sales are going up, and if they release a big touchscreen Mac, well, I don't even know if I'll be on this show anymore. Cult class sales are already going through the roof. I could barely already keep up with demand, and now you had a whole new Mac that's being touched all day long. Baby, I'm out of here. You guys can come visit me in my mansion.
Retiring to the Caymans.
Let's see here. What else do we got? Oh, well, this is another big story of the week.
Yeah, this was
one that I think no one cares about, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So apparently, it's just right around the corner. Apple's headset reportedly in the hands of developers. This was I think this was more information that came out of Gurman's newsletter. And he was saying that a small number of high-profile software developers have already received the prototype hardware for testing. And he said that Apple's still resolving a lot of kinks, as you can imagine, with the hardware, software, and services but it's been provided to developers so that they can begin working on third-party apps and figure out like what the heck they're going to do with this thing, right?
Kinky software.
Oh yeah. Well, that might be more true than you know. It's probably going to be one of the long-awaited features at the Caney household. Elaborating further, Gurman states that Apple originally planned to unveil the long-awaited headset. I was like,
well, it's true. We're waiting on it.
That's true. This month, which is now expected in spring before the annual Worldwide Developers Conference. I just can't believe that this thing is actually right around the corner. We've been talking about it for so long. Reportedly, Apple's plan involves getting developers up to speed with its software features in June and eventually shipping the headset in the fall of 2023, so I guess at the end of the year. If true, that backs up Ming-Chi Kuo's recent claims, who advised last month that the Apple headset faces delays late into 2023. I think that this headset is sucking up all their resources. I saw a report this week that iOS 17 is going to include fewer like whiz-bang features than previously planned because they're just putting all of their effort into creating this headset. And I mean, as you can imagine, it's a whole new product category with a whole new OS, all new brand new hardware. And the closer that they get to actually releasing this, it's just going to take up everyone's attention and everyone's focus at Apple so that they get this thing out the door.
I would love to hear some people talk about that. You know, what it's like working on this product. I wonder if there are people working on the product who are just like, you know, have the same opinion that we do, which is like, oh man, this thing is going to be a dog. Nobody's going to want this.
Well, we'll see how much it costs first.
Can you imagine working on a product like that like you're not convinced is going to be a super hit?
Well, if they staff their teams right, the people that are working on it all think it's going to be a super hit and are excited to be working on such a product. But
I mean, you would think so, but I mean, it seems like it might be hard to do. I don't know, man. I just got to be some skeptics, right? There's got to be some people going, wow, this thing is, wow, it's, you know, now you got to have a battery pack on your waist, which is going to make it super weird. And nobody's going to want it.
Imagine you're the battery pack guy. Like, you're the guy who's like designing the battery pack for the waist that's going to make this thing run, and you're just like, you got to be kidding me.
Should we come up with custom fanny packs to fit them in, or
it'll probably have like custom silicone cases.
Do we want to attach it with a carabiner or a Velcro thing? You know, I mean.
Maybe the AirTags,
leather loop
or something.
How's it going to attach? Is it going to strap onto your waist like a belt?
It's going to have like belt loops or something, man.
Belt loops?
Yeah, it'll have like
pant
loops.
What about people who don't wear belts?
What about people that don't wear pants?
Whoa.
There are people.
You mean like,
how are the nudists going to wear this thing? What are they going to strap it to?
Women in beautiful dresses with no belt.
Yeah, so they'll have to have like a strap, like a custom strap that you can.
How is it going to work?
I don't know.
I haven't heard anybody talking about it, and
somehow it doesn't sound like actually that big of a problem. You're like, well, you have to be wearing pants.
Well,
we've designed this to be pants compatible. If you get pantsed,
I mean,
or you're not wearing pants, then this product is not going to work for you.
Okay, so you're wearing. Now, I know this is a stretch. You're sitting in your house wearing sweatpants.
Okay.
No belt. How does that thing? What do you do? Does it have like
I would argue that if you feel like it's appropriate to walk around wearing sweats, you don't deserve to wear the headset.
I 90%
of
the users are going to be wearing sweatpants.
And no one who walks around in sweatpants all day is going to be able to afford this.
So, you're kidding me.
Problem solved.
Come on. You think it's literally going to be like you have to be wearing a belt?
Yeah, man. If there's a battery pack that connects to your body, then yeah, you're gonna have to be wearing pants. Honestly, that doesn't seem like such a big requirement.
It's not even the pants that I'm talking. It's the belt. A lot of people wear jeans with no belt.
No, man. That is no.
I've seen it happen.
Oh, sure. Steve Jobs used to wear jeans without a belt. There are people that do it, but most people cannot. Most people can't wear pants without a belt. They have to wear a belt so their pants don't fall down. That's why suspenders were invented, because this is such a ubiquitous problem, right?
Well, think about that.
There's
what
very
if
few guys
make a comeback.
There's very few guys who have the leg buttock structure, the leg waist buttock structure, to wear pants without a belt. It's almost unheard of. You have to have like the perfect curvature to your buttocks to be able to pull that off. Do you wear a belt?
I got a belt on right now.
I do too. I would guarantee you, out of everyone in the Slack or in the channel in the chat right now, is there anyone in here who's not wearing a belt? Are you wearing pants without a belt? I bet you we don't find a single person.
There's got to be at least one person wearing sweatpants.
I hope not. If there are, we're going to get the moderator in here.
Come on. Dirty little secret. I wear quite a few sweatpants.
Do you
not
really?
at once. Yeah. Yeah, because I like to, work out in the middle of the day.
Well, apparently we have a lot of people here who are not wearing pants.
Whoa.
Mark T says no belt.
See?
But he's also wearing like some weird spandex outfit that is not compatible.
I wonder if belts are,
belt
like
on,
fashionably.
Yep.
Like where in the grand scheme of things is this is it good fashion to wear a belt? Is it bad fashion to wear a belt? There's also a million different kinds of belts. Some of them are thick, some of them are thin, some are flimsy. I mean, the more I think about this, the more weirded out I am. I just can't. How is it going to attach to the belt?
Well, we don't.
Not the belt.
Well, we don't even know if there is going to be a battery pack that attaches, although that was the rumor, and it does seem to be the case. But I mean, as a product designer, I would feel completely comfortable saying this product is for people with pants. And if you're not wearing pants, you're disqualified, man. I mean, if you don't have pockets, how do you carry your iPhone? Oh no. We gotta come up with an iPhone carrying pouch for people who don't have pockets. It's like, dude, just wear something with pockets, or
the iPhone holster.
Or you can have a fanny pack.
But you gotta have a belt for the holster. Maybe you should start Cult Belt.
Cult of belts.
Just Cult Belt. Like Cult Cloth, Cult Belt.
Oh, maybe it's made out of coat cloth too, so it cleans your waist while you're wearing it.
I don't know if that would be heavy duty enough material for a belt.
Hey, you know what? I won't have you denigrate the coat cloth like that. How dare you?
It's just not. It's perfect.
It's virtually
too
indestructible.
Soft and luxurious.
Well, that is true, but it's also durable and has a thick weave.
Wow.
Should we move on?
Sorry, I just never really thought about the belt-mounted battery until just now. I mean, we've been saying it for weeks, but that's the first time I ever actually thought about the complications that might arise.
I think that it's more complicated in your mind than it probably actually is in real life.
You just wait.
Yeah.
You're perfectly fine waiting.
Well, look. I mean, just think about this in terms of the iPhone. If they were the iPhone is a product that is very fragile, and it's easily scratched, right? And they don't give you anything to protect it. They just give you the iPhone and say, "Here you go." And you can make the same argument about the iPhone. You're like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, where am I supposed to put it? You didn't give me a carrying pouch. How am I supposed to bring this with me in my everyday life? It's not even protected. If I drop it, it's going to break. These are all things that I think Apple expects you to figure out.
All right. Well, you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start noticing how many people wear belts.
Please do. I think that you're going to find that out of every 100 people, there might be 2 that don't wear a belt.
It's going to be an informal, non-scientific survey.
It's very rare. Very rare.
Really?
People don't. You got to have you got to have the right buttocks. And most people just don't have the right buttocks.
I'm hung up on the belt.
Well, that's the thing. The belt holds your pants up in situations where you don't have the buttock structure to do it with muscle. I mean, think about the shape of your buttocks. Like
I don't want to. Let's move on. I like your other idea.
Think about the shapes of my buttocks.
Let's move on.
I need you to focus and think about my buttocks.
Can't do it.
You're all over the place. Do we have any audience? Our audience has gone up since we started talking about this. We might be onto something.
Weirdos.
But we got to move on. Let's do the giveaway real fast, shall we, Lewis? Let's give people something else to think about too.
Yeah,
please help
us. This baby's hot off the presses. Just went live today, so get in there now, and you might be first one nice. In. This week we're giving away an iPad accessory bundle from Pataka.
Yeah.
Familiar with this company?
Yeah, actually, they make a fantastic iPhone case. It's like the Air case or something, and it's made out of carbon fiber. It's a really beautiful case.
So that's not in this giveaway. This giveaway is for iPad Pro people. This is a Mag Easy iPad Pro case and a Mag Easy wireless charging stand. This bundle's worth $190. Wow. iPad Pro owner, go to the Cult of Mac homepage, scroll down to the giveaway section, just sign up for our newsletter. There's other different ways you can enter to win. As per usual, you go and look at a Twitter account or something. It varies from time to time, but You've got a one. I think this is a 1 week giveaway, so you will not have a chance if you put it off. Do it
But if you
now.
do it, you got a chance.
I love this Mag Easy stand though. It's got I've never used one. I should say. I love the looks of it. It's got a iPhone charger built into the base. It's kind of awesome. That's
That is useful.
people. People are always saying like, wouldn't it be cool if the iMac had a built-in iPhone charger, right? The wireless charger right there in the base, right?
That
In the
would
foot.
be useful.
It would be great, right? Well, this thing has it. So
would have been cool for the $1,600 Apple Studio display as well.
Yeah, it seems like they could have gone ahead and worked that into there.
Yeah, give me something.
Look at that case. It's a good-looking case too. It kind of looks like that carbon fiber. It's got some kind of like grippy sort of what do they call it? Fusion weaving, and it's made of aramid fiber. Ooh.
It definitely is beautiful. Like the carbon fiber case. They sent me a case forever ago. Full disclosure.
Oh yeah.
And it was a really beautiful carbon fiber case, and of course it's also super protective because carbon fiber is so strong. But it did have a very classic carbon fiber look to it. Like a lot of people have fake carbon fiber or low quality carbon fiber, but this thing was smooth as silk. It had a really like, I don't know if it's a weave or how they manufacture it, but like the case itself was just super soft as a baby's bum. And it had a really cool weave pattern in it. Like it looked like premium grade carbon fiber, and this looks just like it.
Yeah, this case. If you zoom in, yeah, it almost looks like a houndstooth kind of thing. It is pretty cool looking. Supposedly a great case. I'm not familiar with them.
All right, well, I'll put a link to the giveaway in the chat. I'll also put it in the show notes, of course. Give it a shot. You got a
pretty great bundle. That's a great bundle we got. I'm glad we finally got the giveaway back. We had a little bit of a break over the holidays, so now it's back on.
We're back at it, baby. Giving away all that great free stuff. Okay, let's see here. Let's move on to another exciting story that I thought was really interesting. It kind of flew under the radar this week, but I thought this was one that was pretty interesting. Let's see here. Where did it go? Do I not have it up? Oh, here we go. Here we go. I was going to say, I thought I had it up. Apple's in-house display could debut on the Apple Watch Ultra in 2024. And here's why this story is interesting. They seem to be making a move towards micro LEDs. So currently, right now, you have a mix of different display technologies that Apple uses, and all the display technologies are, purchased from other manufacturers like Samsung, like LG, and you have OLED, which is a self-emissive display technology. So it doesn't need an illumination layer. Every pixel is self-illuminating, and then Apple also just uses traditional LCD and has a traditional LED backlight for their screens. But the holy grail, in my opinion, of these two technologies would be, of screen technology, I should say, would be micro LED. So currently you have mini LED being used, which are basically just like, smaller backlights, and they can turn some of them off and keep some of them on so that it increases the contrast ratio on screens. But the reason that micro LED would be the holy grail is because it would have all the strengths of OLED, in that you have individual pixel illumination control, and you could, when you have that level of control, it gives you an infinite contrast ratio. It also helps you to display much more accurate color information and greater color volume. But with OLEDs, which have the same capability, they're organic, and those pixels can only get so bright before they start to damage themselves. And it also they have shelf life. So like OLED TVs, the older they get, the less bright they get, and the less ability they have to show certain colors. But with micro LED, you would have the individual pixel control like you do with OLED. You'd have all the same color brightness and color volume benefits, but you wouldn't have the weakness of burn-in, which is something that affects OLEDs as they age, or if they get too bright, they can wear themselves out. And they also don't have a shelf life because they have a much longer shelf life, I should say, because they're LEDs. They can last for 50,000 hours or whatever. So the story continues on this way. Apple's in-house display could debut on the Apple Watch in 2024. Apple wants to reduce its reliance on sourcing displays for its products from Samsung and LG. So the company is working on its own custom displays that it intends to use as early as 2024. This would mark another move from Apple to develop more core components it uses on its devices in-house. This is also from Bloomberg. They say Apple plans to swap out OLED displays on the high-end Apple Watch with its in-house micro LED display from next year. So starting next year. So this is something that Apple has been working on. We've talked about this in the past, but I didn't realize we were so close to this actually happening. And I think that this would probably be like the best display technology that's out there. I mean, it would be brighter than OLED, but with no risk of burn-in. I mean, that's the biggest problem with OLED is it's a really great technology, but it can't get very bright. They're always trying to figure out how to make it brighter without burning itself out. And then it has a much shorter shelf life than like LED technology does. So to have Apple be able to do this themselves would give them a huge leg up over competitors and give you a really top-notch, top-tier display technology. So the current Apple Watch Ultra, well, all of them, they use OLED sourced from Samsung or LG. Citing sources, the report says Apple's micro LED panels offer higher brightness levels, better viewing angles, and vibrant colors. The improvements make the UI feel like it is painted on top of glass. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. While Apple will develop the technology behind micro LED, it won't manufacture the panels themselves. Sure, it will likely outsource production to one of its suppliers, and they have been working on this for years. So it seems like we're right on the cusp of like major display technology change, and this would be a dramatic change. I mean, there's rumors that they're going to go to OLED in the MacBook Pro. That seems to be like a intermediary step before they move to micro LED. And I don't even think there's any micro LED televisions on the market yet. Like no one has even come to the market with one of those as far as I know. Like they all have like mini LEDs, which are great for brightness, but they're not great for contrast because they can't get the same level of individual control over their illumination like they can with OLED, where they can control it. They can turn every pixel on or off and control the brightness. And this would let you do that without burn-in. So this is, in my opinion, very exciting and would allow your screens to get just extremely bright, like way brighter than anything that we have.
How many nits?
Now,
Give us the nits.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, with LED TVs, they can get as bright as 2,000 nits, 3,000 nits even, which is like eye-searingly bright. Like, 1,000 nits would give you a display that you could see outdoors. 3,000 nits would be like, even outdoors, it might be too bright for you to look at. So,
like staring into the sun.
Not quite at that level, but maybe staring into something that's not as bright as the sun, but still really bright. So, like maybe it was the moon, but a very bright moon, like a moon that's so bright, you're like, how did the moon get that bright? I'm not even sure. Is that our moon? Because our moon doesn't normally get that bright. But I've been geeking out on display technology because there's been so many changes in the last 2 or 3 years, especially with QD OLED now on the scene. And it really makes such a drastic difference when you have a new display technology that's like 30% brighter or is able to show the level of color volume that QD OLED can show you. And I know I talked about this before,
I'm
Ben.
so glad you're around because I can't even start to think about this stuff. Can you see my eyes glaze over?
Well, let me tell you what.
I can never keep it straight, man.
I
can never keep it straight. Which one's newest? Which one's latest? Which one's best? Which one's better in what way and why?
So yeah, just to kind of give a quick summary, QD OLED right now is the best technology that I think for most people they would say is the best visual display technology that exists. But of course, its main problem is it can't get as bright as LED. That's always the problem they're trying to overcome. Like the volume of color it can show is better than anything I've ever seen. Color accuracy looks great, but the brightness is just not quite there. So if you had a display that could get the brightness and all the benefits of OLED, I mean that's like the unicorn technology right there. So it'd be really cool to see Apple develop their own tech and get this out the door, because no one's buying. I don't think you can even buy a TV with micro LED yet, at least as far as I know. So anyway, it looks like this will show up on the Apple Watch Ultra first, which also means that there's probably not going to be any big changes to the Apple Watch Ultra before this technology rolls out. Let's see here, in 2024. So, and we even saw that story, which I think, did we leave that in? Yeah, we did, which we'll probably talk about later. It looks like there's not going to be a big Apple Watch update coming in 2023. Shocker. If you want something that is a lot different than the current generation Apple Watches, you're going to have to get the Ultra, which I'm not wearing mine right now because it's charging, but...
Charging? I thought those things were nuclear powered.
Occasionally you do have to charge them. Yeah. I'm about every 2 days now. I have to charge my Apple Watch Ultra, but 2 days is pretty good. Every 48 hours charging it, as opposed to like every 16 hours with the regular Apple Watch. Let's see here. Should we run through all this this roundup, this Apple new product timeline, Lewis?
Absolutely. Just I can't contain my excitement about this project. Yes. The roadmap.
I'm just looking at the chat real fast. Level Remix is saying, would you want a circle Apple Watch, Lewis? How you feeling about a circle?
I used to think I like those, what was it, the Android Wear ones or whatever? Who made it? I can't remember if it was
Motorola,
Samsung.
wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, maybe so. Yeah, a bunch of people have, right? I always thought those looked good. I mean,
actually, I think that was
opposed,
Samsung.
I wouldn't be opposed to a round watch. I mean, I think it's weird though. I mean, it's kind of like AirPods. I mean, the first time I saw an Apple Watch, I was like, "Oh my God, what in the world?" And then now it's like, "Oh, it's just the most natural thing in the world." Same thing, First time I saw AirPods, couldn't believe anybody would actually wear them, and now I see somebody with wires, and I'm like, "What in the time traveler?"
I know. I saw a guy with he was wearing one of those sleeves that you put on your arm that your iPhone's in, and he had like the white wires going to his ears, and I was like, whoa.
Was he vigorously exercising?
He was actually, yeah.
Okay, well, all right. Kudos to him. You know what I saw the other day?
He was also wearing sweats with shorts on top of him.
And he's not going to be able to wear a VR headset. He's going to know where to mount that battery.
No, and he doesn't deserve to.
The other day, the wife and I were walking at a park in San Francisco. It's actually a pretty cool park. It's on top of the Salesforce Transit Center. They got this like botanical garden park. I've never been there. It's got a beer garden in the middle of it, for crying out loud.
Oh, sounds
I was actually saying, like, this would be a great place for a beer garden. That's my standard joke now. Is every time I'm walking through a park, it'd be a great place for a beer garden, because they have them in parks in Germany. But here, there's nothing, right? But there's one right there in the middle of this thing. I was
perfect.
Shocked. But what I saw was a person sitting on a park bench by themselves wearing AirPods Max. And you know what? It looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. It just looked so... I don't know. It's something about the way those things look. I think I've mentioned before, I've only seen them maybe once or twice on people, like at an airport or something.
Yeah.
This is the first time I actually saw somebody sitting in their little AirPods Max cocoon. And I actually thought about walking up to them and seeing if like they would notice that I was there, right? Because like they can't hear. They're probably...
Well, there's transparency mode, so...
Yeah, but why would you... maybe they were...
I would have transparency mode turned on. If I were in a park...
In San Francisco?
Yes. In any park. I'm like, I would want to hear if someone was getting close to me, for sure.
Yeah, well, I thought the same thing. I mean, no, I didn't think the same thing. I immediately thought that they were wearing them with, noise cancellation on. But you're probably right, unless they're just not afraid of, the wild elements.
Yeah, I only turned my sound and isolation on, so we had our roof replaced recently, and I was like, I just put them on, turned on sound cancellation, and I could still noise cancellation. I could still hear the hammering, but it wasn't nearly as bad. I took it from like a 11 to maybe like a 3, and I was just like, or if my kids are being too loud, turn on noise cancellation. I'll
tell you what, seeing that person wearing those things, that made me start to covet them. It made me think maybe I should buy some. But
I started using mine a lot more actually with my Apple TV.
As soon as I buy them, they're going to come out with a new one, and I'm going to be so upset.
Which is probably going to happen next year. Well, it actually might be this year. We'll see, but we'll talk about that in a second. I see guys at my gym wearing the AirPods Max all the time, and I'm like, dude, come on.
It's the
At
wrong
the
use case.
gym, I know you're wearing your sweats, which is already agitating me, and now you're here wearing your AirPods Max, which look like jewelry on your head. They're not activewear in any sense.
No, they look sci-fi. They
look-
look good. I was stunned by how taken with them I was.
They
And
don't
I mean,
look good on me, but they do look good on other people. They're very large on your head.
They are. They yeah.
But the sound counts, the noise cancellation, excuse me, is, I think, unparalleled. I have never worn anything that cancel out noise as well as those do. And now that, so I never really use them for music, but I do use them with my Apple TV now all the time. So if my wife is like in the living room reading, I'll just put those on and watch TV, and I can also turn on the noise cancellation so my kids running around crazy don't bother me. It's pretty nice. And the thing is like, if I'm watching something that has maybe a little bit of spicy audio that I don't really want to pollute my living room with, then I can wear those and I don't have to worry about it because my kids won't be able to hear it, and I can just sit there, and it's like your own personal surround sound. It's actually kind of nice. I highly recommend it. All right, Lewis, let's do this roundup real fast. So I thought we could just take a look at what is coming in 2023. Now, I think we've talked about this in the past, but Mac Rumors did a roundup, and I was like, this is pretty interesting because we've talked about all this stuff before, but this kind of lays out what we expect and when we expect it, which is why it's interesting. And there is a new HomePod on this on this timeline. So let's just kick it off with the first quarter of 2023. So the current quarter that we're in. I don't know if this is still true. I just saw a story today that said that the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros with M2 are delayed even more. But we were expecting them in the first quarter. Have you heard anything more about this, Lewis? Because I swear that I just heard this was pushed back.
Well, the last thing I remember seeing was something about like a March event, right, with a bunch of Macs.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And that's first quarter. So I don't know.
March,
that was
right.
maybe a week ago. I don't think I've seen anything more recent than that saying yet another delay.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll wait and see if that plays out. I know this is like the first, or the end of the year was like the first Q4 in what, like 18 years or something since Apple hasn't released a Mac in that quarter. So Apple's having all sorts of supply chain issues, obviously, and so it's kind of hard to know exactly what's going to happen, but these are all expectations, right? The other thing that's going to make me cry when it gets released is the 27-inch external display with mini LED panel. This is basically a better version of the Apple Studio display and kind of what we were expecting, instead of just the current singular zone studio display that we have now. And by singular zone, I mean like it doesn't have lighting zones behind the panel. They all have the same level of illumination, which ruins the contrast ratio. So if they release something like this, I would, I would be unhappy having had this come so quickly after the original studio display. This is not micro LED. This is mini LED. So this is kind of what is in the MacBook Pro. So it would allow Apple to have different zones of illumination so that they could have areas that need illumination turned on and other areas that don't need illumination turned off, which would greatly enhance the contrast of the studio display, which would be very cool because right now it doesn't have great contrast ratio. I think it's like 1,000 to 1 or something. And your MacBook Pro, I think it's like 1,000,000 to 1 because it is able to do different lighting zones beneath the display and turn off illumination that's no longer needed. So they're probably going to make the display more in line with what's in your MacBook Pro. We have a Mac Mini with M2 and M2 Pro options coming. I know a lot of you are excited about that. That's going to be extremely powerful but affordable machine. Mac Pro with M2 Ultra chip. I'll believe that when I see it. That's like vaporware at this point. And then finally, a full a new full-size HomePod. I can hardly believe them saying that, but this is a tweet from Ming-Chi Kuo back in May, and he was saying Apple will release a new version of HomePod in Q4 of 2022, which just ended, or Q1 2023. There may not be much innovation in hardware design. Smart speakers are undoubtedly one of the essential elements of the home ecosystem, but I think Apple is still figuring out how to succeed in this market. But we were just talking about some information from Gurman, right, Lewis? Where did that come from? What was he saying?
Yeah, Gurman was saying the same thing. It's coming this year. I don't think he, his most recent thing, I know he didn't set a specific timeline. Still coming this year is what he said.
But he was also saying that we have a bunch of rumors that are all being melted together in my brain. But a cheaper
I can
price,
read exactly what he said.
Do you have it right there?
Yeah.
Well, then why are you holding out on me?
Well, because give me a second. He said, quote, "The return of the larger HomePod size is still set for this year, but I wouldn't expect anything revolutionary about it. Look for a lower price." Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty revolutionary.
Yeah. An updated touch control panel on the top.
Yep.
And the S8 chip from the latest Apple Watches in a design similar to the model from 2018. Similar to, not exactly the same as. How are they going to cut the price without cutting some features?
I don't know. And the big question that Lewis had was like, why did they squash the original HomePod?
Right. It baffles me every time I think about it.
It makes a lot of sense to me. Like it wasn't catching on. The price was too high. People had just basically written it off. And so I think that they needed to do something to give it a new life. So they just pulled it off the market. They retooled. I think that they probably need to come out with a price tag around $200 because that's what the competing product from Amazon has, the Studio or the Amazon Echo Studio, which was a decent speaker. I reviewed it, and it was fine. It was no HomePod. But if they could come in around that $200 price point, but keep the sound quality. I mean, they already designed it, right? So, like, keep that in there. Update the screen a little bit so it has some new cool screen tech on top, and keep it at $200. I think that would be super compelling.
Yeah, so what? They're going to make it better and charge half as much. Well, not half, a little.
They're going to have to drop the price. The price was the price was what kept people from buying it. I mean, it was a great speaker. It also had issues. I mean, the fact that Apple kept it walled off so that it only worked with Apple Music, so dumb. Like, this whole walled garden approach with a product like that was they shot themselves in the foot. Like, it needs to be more like the Amazon speaker, the Google speaker. It has to integrate with other music services and play nice, right? Otherwise, why would you buy an overpriced speaker just to listen to Apple Music? It's like, dude, how many people listen to Apple
TV
Music?
Plus.
What also works great with that? I mean,
or any Apple TV.
Yeah, man.
I agree. They should do that. I just don't know how they're going to cut the price that much.
I don't know either. Yeah.
And maintain it. I mean, wasn't there a rumor a long time ago, like, oh, they're going to release it with fewer tweeters or something? Because I think it has 7 in it, or
7 custom designed tweeters, Lewis. 7
long throw tweeters.
And I will accept no less than 7.
I mean, but if they make the one thing about it, well, aside from Siri, the one thing that I don't like about the HomePod is the touch panel on top. I mean, it seems kind of useless. I mean, it
is useless, but it looks cool.
It kind of looks cool when it's a little color, but it's I don't know. I don't find that a very satisfying experience anytime that I actually want to physically make it quieter or something. I mean, it just
I think that they just need to adopt. I would be happy if they just adopted the top of the HomePod Mini. It has this very cool glowing light panel on the top. It kind of effervesces lights, and then it has the volume controls. And for me, that's kind of all I would want because it creates a cool atmosphere. The product looks cool, and they're clearly not going to put some kind of visual display on the top that lets you see what's going on it, and then also lower the price. That seems like a lot of extra expense.
It streams videos onto your ceiling.
Yeah, it's just a laser.
It comes with a laser projector built
but
into
only
the top.
if the HomePod only costs $75.
Right.
They need to include that, and then also the. Yeah, so I don't see them making that much of a change, and like what smart speaker has a display on the top that shows you anything? Like none of them do. They have basic controls like the Amazon speakers to have a volume up and volume down, and I think they have a like a microphone mute button, but then that's pretty much it. If they just left the HomePod as is, they could literally do nothing, and just lower the price to $175 and re-release
Listen
it.
to you. It just keeps getting cheaper and cheaper.
If they would just come out and pay me $45 to take a HomePod, these things
$43 on Black Friday.
these things would fly off the shelves. Just think of it. They give you a HomePod and they give you $43.
Yeah.
They'd be gone in a heartbeat. But Apple doesn't have anyone like me in their marketing department, clearly. Let's move on. Let's see. Second quarter, 2023. This is the big one. I know that you guys are, some of you, excited about this. A 15-inch MacBook Air. 15.5 inch.
16.5, an extra half an inch.
15.5 inch MacBook Air with M2 and M2 Pro options. I think that this would pretty much be the perfect computer for most people. According to Mac Rumors, they're saying second half of 2023 is going to bring the mixed reality headset, and they're saying second generation AirPods Max. Now, I don't know, man. Didn't we hear there was a rumor? Yeah. So we had a rumor that we'll mention here shortly that says we're not going to get any AirPods updates, period, this year. So I don't know what to believe, but the AirPods Max are old. 2 years old, actually. Wow, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. They're saying that with the second generation AirPods Pro, they're talking about the AirPods Pro. And new features, right? Okay, the most recent mention of a second generation model was Gurman in October, saying the next version will feature USB-C and launch by 2024. Okay, well then why do you have this in 2023?
Well, by 2024.
Okay. I would probably imagine that they will change the connection type or improve the connection from low quality Bluetooth to something that's not that for a pair of premium headphones, and then maybe fix the condensation issue that's happening on the AirPods Max, although it doesn't seem to be causing a problem. I don't often hear people complaining about their AirPods Max being ruined by moisture, although there was there was a story that people were complaining that moisture gets into them and erodes like one of the connections to the ear cups, and people were saying that was ruining their AirPods Max. So that could be something that we see get fixed. And then also interchangeable headbands. I think that was something that Apple was going for originally on the AirPods Max, but they ended up not being able to get it to work, so they omitted it. And then touch pads on the ear cups for audio controls, lower cost, sports oriented model. Yeah,
Lower
I can see
cost?
that. With like a sports oriented model. So that would be something probably not as premium. I don't know, man. All this is up in the air in my book. I really have no idea what we're going to see besides improved audio. I thought you were going to say something, but then you just left me hanging.
I got a little bit distracted because somebody came to our front door, and so you're saying a lower cost AirPods Max, not, or are you talking about the AirPods Lite?
It would be like AirPods Max Sport. So
where's this one from?
Huh?
Was this from the Mac Rumors stuff?
Yeah, they were mentioning that.
Oh, okay.
So
I got a little lost.
I don't know if that's they're saying that was rumored, but omitted. So I have never heard that rumor before. So that's kind of news to me. But if you're waiting for AirPods Max and you're not in a hurry to get your hands on them, I would just at this point wait for the newer model.
Oh wait, they could also fix the case, right? So
I like the case. Honestly, I like the case.
Only person.
Well, the AirPods Max are so big already that if you make a case for them, it's just going to make them huge. So I kind of like that the case paper thin and covers the metal on the ear cups, and that's really all you need. I really don't know what the complaint is with the case. They pretty much do exactly what you need them to do.
I don't understand why anybody needs the case.
Well, because the AirPods are anodized aluminum, and if you just put them in your backpack, I mean, first of all, the ear cups would flop and flip all over the place. No one wants something flopping and flipping.
You just wear
And they
them
would
around
get
your neck.
scratched up.
You never take them off your neck.
Dude, they weigh like 16 pounds. You're not going to do that. Yeah, see,
All right.
you might do that for like a half hour, but they're way too big. And when you toss them in your bag, you got to have some kind of protection for them.
I
think
can't get
the
over the
case
way
is-
that thing looks.
You mean the case?
Yeah, the case.
I think it looks fine. Once you have the AirPods in them, yeah, it's fine.
Looks like a poodle purse.
Well, I'm not carrying it on my shoulder and showing it off to my boyfriends. It's going in my backpack, man.
Okay.
Let's see here. Okay, let's rattle off the rest of this stuff. Third quarter, iPhone 15s, obviously. Apple
What?
Watch Series 9. I know
That is
you're
a bold
shocked.
prediction.
I know you're shocked by that. I don't know who their source is, but that was a bold claim.
You know,
Yeah.
Apple Watch Series 9, what are they going to do to make it different this year? They just had a
Different colors, different bands.
they just they just had they just lost a patent case for the blood blood oxygen sensor. Did you hear about this?
I did, man. I'm
Hey,
so sick of these patent trolls.
I don't think this is a patent troll. This is actually a company that produces oxygen sensors,
Uh-huh.
like medical grade stuff.
Mhm.
And I didn't read this deeply into this story, but there were like, I don't know, five things they claimed, 5 or 6 that they claimed their patents were ignored or usurped by Apple, but the judge found that Apple did do one, and like the next step is, are they going to ban import of these things?
I'm sure they'll work
I'm
out
sure
some
they're
kind
not
of
gonna.
licensing
Oh, yeah.
agreement. Where,
I'm sure, yeah, but we haven't heard any rumors at all about the Apple Watch Series 9, have we? I haven't heard a peep about it.
well, we have this story that pretty much explains why. Because there's going to be
because everyone's working on the battery pack for the belt. No, everyone's
The
working
whole-
on
the
the
whole-
VR headset, right?
the whole Apple team. Let me just power through this fourth quarter, and then we'll talk about the last story, which I think will explain why we haven't heard anything about Apple Watch. So fourth quarter, iMac with M3 chip, iMac Pro maybe, with
Ooh.
mini LED display and M3 Pro, M3 Max chip options. That would blow my mind. If we actually ever saw an iMac Pro again, then I would truly be surprised, because an iMac Pro, in light of the era of Mac Studio, I just don't know if it makes any sense, but maybe in some way Apple can make it work. And then 7th generation iPad mini with a new chip, which is Lewis's favorite product. He loves the iPad mini, goes on and on and on about it, and how it's definitely not overpriced. So there you go. There's your roadmap. I hope all this stuff comes to fruition, especially the HomePod.
I love paying more for less.
You know what's funny is I had never. Lewis was complaining that the iPad mini is just too overpriced. You might as well just get a normal iPad. And I was like, that's actually a good point. I honestly had never thought about that. But you can get the 9th gen iPad for $250 now. So why spend the extra money? And the iPad mini is normally $499 for 64 gigabytes. I'm like, why spend the extra money? Literally twice the price. It doesn't make any sense. Unless you have to have the portability.
Yeah, I've never understood the product. Maybe it's good for kids. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, it is good for
Kids'
kids,
little
but
hands.
what's better for kids is a cheaper iPad with a bigger screen. That's
And
more good for
and
kids.
a heavy-duty case.
Yeah, exactly. And they could see everything on the screen better. Like that makes way more sense. Anyway. All right, Lewis, take us home. I've been talking for like 45 minutes. We got some big news about no news.
Yeah, this is. I was trying to explain it. This is like the antithesis of news. The headline is "No major iPad, or Apple Watch upgrades planned for 2023."
I think this is
No
news.
No news is bad news, I guess.
Well, because people might be waiting to purchase one of these devices, and we're letting them know that they probably are not going to see any new AirPods, iPad, or Apple Watch stuff. It's going to be pretty minor upgrades.
Yeah, so this is our story. Once again, based off Bloomberg. But so 2023 could be an outlier for Apple because everybody's been working on the AR VR headset and the iPhone 15. Which it sounds like that's actually going to have some changes, right?
The iPhone 15.
Yes, the iPhone.
Yeah, they're gonna get rid of the buttons.
Yeah,
The volume buttons will be gone.
There's been a bunch of talk about how that's going to be different. Anyway, other products in the company's lineup will receive a refresh, but with relatively minor upgrades. That includes AirPods, which this does conflict with the AirPods Max thing.
Yes, it does.
The Apple
right.
TV, which, they don't seem to make that many upgrades to that anyway. iPad.
Even when they do upgrade that, it's like the Apple Watch. It's like, oh, they added the ability for the volume to go up.
Yeah, they really do need to actually make things different, a little bit more different, because we've had a few years now of the watch, the phone, everything's kind of the same.
Oh man, especially the watch. I mean, the last big feature to me that they added for the Apple Watch was the always-on display for the Apple Watch Series 5. That was the last major change. I mean, other than that, it's all been very minor stuff.
Oh, the car crash
detection. Except for the Ultra.
Car crash detection.
Yeah.
The feature you hope you never have to use.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, when I think of a major feature that is something to get excited about, it's something that changes your everyday life that you actually use. Not car crash detection, which you probably will never use. Hopefully we'll never use.
So, as mentioned, the AR VR headset is just basically eating up all the resources, is what they're saying, is what Gurman is saying in this story about why these other product lines are not going anywhere. Apple Watch is going to receive its annual refresh, blah, 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 exactly. Series 9, same as Series 8.
Same as Series 7. Same as Series 6.
Gurman says the 2023 model will pack minor performance improvements. That's the big update. And I mean, honestly, when was the last time you said to yourself, this Apple Watch, it's just not fast enough. The performance just ain't happening.
Well, it's not happening on my Ultra. I'll tell you that much. Man, if you want a whole new Apple Watch experience, that's the one to go for, man. The Ultra. They just nailed the aesthetic of the Ultra. In my opinion, it's if that's the only reason that you bought a new Apple Watch, is because you wanted a new aesthetic and not that round, fancy little jewel shape that they have on the Apple Watch now. It's worth it, man. I just absolutely love my Ultra.
I keep hoping I'll see one for a good price. It's just
occasionally I see them pop up for $749, but they definitely aren't discounting them very much.
That's not a big discount.
No, it's not.
Let's see. This report also confirms that Apple's working on a new 11-inch and 13-inch iPad Pros with OLED displays. Yeah, 11-inch Apple Watch. These are supposedly not going to happen until 2024 at the soonest. Probably get an iPad Air, an iPad Mini refresh with just minor spec bumps. Yeah. Get tired of minor spec bumps.
We just had a lot of
hard to keep track of things too.
We had AirPod updates in 2022, so we can't have big ones every single year.
I saw that headline about the AirPods Lite, but I didn't get around to reading a story.
I saw that too.
Second half of 2024 at the earliest. So yeah, okay, that's where that's headed.
AirPods Lite, aka AirPods 2 with a different shell. Apple's the master of repackaging old technology into a new form factor.
You'll never call them AirPods Lite. AirPods Air.
Or AirPods. They'll just make the air last a lot longer, so you really know how light they are. All right, Lewis.
What was the other possibility?
I can't even hear what you're saying. You're mumbling.
Yeah, I was trying to think out loud. Which so if they don't call it AirPods Air, and they don't call it AirPods Lite,
why would
AirPods AirPods SE?
Oh, there you go, Lewis.
You've had enough, haven't you?
You're a genius.
I finally wore you down and let you wear yourself out.
We've only been going for, let's say, we've been live for
an
hour and 15 minutes. We have been recording for almost 2 hours. Lewis and I did a full 45 minutes of banter before we even joined.
You gotta get warmed up.
I'm overwarmed, Lewis. I'm overwarmed.
You need to be reheated.
All right, everyone. That's all that my vocal cords can handle, and that's all that my ears can tolerate. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. I feel like we were just dragged. Like the last 30, we should have quit 30 minutes ago. We should have started the show, 10 minutes of banter, put the music on, out of here. That's what we're doing next week, Lewis.
Yeah,
But
bet on it.
if you want the banter to continue, like me and Lewis, we're both on the new Twitter, just duking it out. I'm at Airfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear whole week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. And we will see you guys next time. Could have been worse, Lewis. This could be the talk show.
Could have been much worse.
Talk about dragon. We're going full talk show. You never go full talk show, Lewis. And if you do, only for a couple minutes while you rest. And then you gotta pick back up. Should I take the music off? We could do another 45, 60 minutes?
Swerve back into a tangent.
Would that be...
Twist!
Wouldn't that be interesting? Fake them out. We'll end the show, and then we come right
Fake
back.
show.
We do another hour.
It's
All right,
like
everyone.
It's like the
Have a good
after
weekend.
credits in the Marvel movies.
Bye, y'all. We're clear, Lewis.